Are you in perimenopause or menopause and feeling like your body has all of a sudden changed the rules on you overnight? Do you have bloating out of nowhere, moods that you don't even recognize, and hot flashes like someone lit your internal thermostat on fire? So what if I told you the real action isn't only your hormones, it's actually happening in your gut? So I want you to stay with me because today I'm breaking down how your microbiome can calm down the chaos, ease your symptoms, and help you feel like yourself again. Hey friend, welcome to Gut Fix. Are you ready to finally get rid of those debilitating digestive symptoms? Do you catch yourself staying up late Googling things like, what can I eat? Or how do I stop a flare? Or maybe you're just lying awake wondering, how did this ever happen to me? I'm Wendy, and I've been exactly where you are, desperately searching for answers, but determined to find natural solutions. And like you, I was overwhelmed by all the conflicting information out there and unsure of what might really work for me. And so now in this podcast, I'm here to share with you what I've learned, how to listen to your body's signals, and uncover the common mistakes that might be standing in the way of your healing. So grab your favorite drink, pop in your earbuds, and let's dive into your health transformation together. Hey friends, welcome back to Gut Fix, where we talk about all things gut health, energy, hormones, inflammation, and finally stop just surviving and start living in a body that actually feels good, right? I'm Wendy Handy, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. I am gut health obsessed. And somebody who refuses to let women over 40 walk through these huge hormonal transitions without answers or without having a better understanding or taking a little bit more control. And so today's episode is one that every woman deserves to hear. We're talking about menopause, but not just in the basic, hot flashes, night sweats, not in that way. We're digging into what's happening underneath the surface, and I'm talking specifically in your gut. So, because so many women, they experience digestive symptoms. They experience the mood changes. They experience the fatigue. And those aren't just menopause. Those are coming from your gut, right? And once you understand that connection, then things start to make a little bit more sense. So let's dive in. First, I want to start with the big picture. So perimenopause is the transition into menopause. And it's different for everybody. It can last for several years. And hormones, especially estrogen, they start fluctuating. And then they start gradually declining. This is totally normal. This is totally expected. It is what happens. What's not talked about nearly enough is how those hormonal changes actually affect your gut. So you might have heard the term, and most likely you haven't heard the term, but if you have heard the term estrobolome floating around, yes, it sounds like something from a Star Wars spinoff. And you pronounce it estrobolome. But there's a very simple explanation as to what that is. So inside your gut, you have a tiny little team of bacteria whose whole focus and whose whole job is to help your body process and balance hormones and estrogen, right? So think of them as your hormone traffic controllers. They're directing estrogen where it needs to go, help clearing out what you don't need, and keeping things just very steady. And science calls that whole system the estrobolome. But all that it means is that it's the part of your gut bacteria that helps to regulate your estrogen. So, during perimenopause, when estrogen starts doing its roller coaster ride, right? That gut hormone relationship starts to get a little bit shaky. And beneficial bacteria can decline during this time. The inflammatory bacteria can start to increase. And then you're dealing with everything from motility to mood. All of that can shift. And it's not just hormones and it's not just your gut. It's both because they're talking to each other constantly. So now let's talk about what symptoms, because women tell me all the time, Wendy, I feel like my body is rebelling. And, honestly, it kind of is. So a 2025 study found that 94% of perimenopausal and menopausal women experience digestive symptoms. 94%. Pretty much everybody, unless you are superhuman, right? And the top two complaints of the digestive symptoms were bloating and constipation. And over half of these women sought help in this area, right? But 58% of those that did seek the help said the support that they got wasn't helpful at all. And so here's why, is because estrogen helps to stimulate digestion. So when it drops, so does your motility. It slows down and in comes constipation. And then gut bacteria starts to shift. So you get fermentation, things like bloating and gas. And then inflammation affects the gut-brain axis. So now you've got mood swings, anxiety, and brain fog. And then temperature regulation gets totally disrupted, and in comes hot flashes. Now, none of this is random, and none of this is just aging. Your gut is deeply involved in how intense or manageable your symptoms feel. So now, here's the empowering part. You can support your body through this transition in a very simple, doable way that make a real difference for you, right? So the first thing is, food. So food that feeds your hormones in your gut. And I want you to think about nourishing and nourishment not being perfect, right? Because it's never about perfection. It's always about just continuing to step forward and making changes. So you want to eat a variety of plant foods, aiming for, 30 different plants a week, which sounds like a lot, I know, but it adds up really fast. So you're combining fruits, veggies, herbs, nuts, seeds. All of this variety is boosting your gut microbiome, and that's going to boost your hormone balance. You can add phytoestrogens, things like flax seeds, chickpeas, lentils. These are gentle, very natural estrogen supporters. And you can also bring in some fermented foods. So things like sauerkraut, plain yogurt, kefir, kimchi, if you can handle the spicy of it. And they're going to reintroduce the helpful bacteria that your gut is truly begging for at this point. And you want to choose warm foods. You want to cook your foods if you have slow digestion, because when you cook down, it's so much easier than raw is on your gut. It's so much easier for your digestion. So things like soups and stews and roasted vegetables, they're all going to be so much easier to digest and give you less bloating. And then number 2 is you can change or add or, do something with your lifestyle habits that are going to give your gut a break. And number 1, you want to support your nervous system. So stress and being in that constant fight or flight mode really does a number on your gut. And then it throws off your hormones even further. So things like deep breathing or, box breathing, which is just simply inhale for 4, hold it for 4, exhale for 4, hold it for 4, and do that, 4 or 5 times. And you will literally start to feel your nervous system reset. You can also meditate or prayer, mindset work. You can take a slow walk outside in nature. All of these things help. They're all going to help you to keep your nervous system regulated. And then my personal go-to, this is for everybody on the planet, but certainly during this time, is to prioritize your sleep like it's medicine. Because when you're gut health sufferers, without having that restorative sleep or poor sleep, it's going to worsen menopausal symptoms. It's going to make your digestive systems worse. It just becomes a very negative feedback loop. And so, again, this is one of my go-to for everybody is you've got to prioritize your sleep, because that's when you are resting, that's when you are recovering, and it affects everything. And then you want to move in a way that works for you and something that your body likes. So I'm not talking about punishing, workouts like high HIIT trainings or, doing CrossFit or things like that. I'm talking about movement that's going to support your motility. It's going to support your mood and also your microbial diversity. So things like yoga, Pilates, stretching, just a nice, easy walk outside in nature. All of this is going to be so much more beneficial, getting your body to move at this time. And so these are not just nice to have things. These are foundational for this stage of your life. So just to recap, you can support this time with eating the proper variety of plant foods, aiming for those 30 different plants per week, adding in the phytoestrogens. You can support your nervous system by taming down your stress and doing some breathing, some prayer, some meditation, going for a walk. Certainly prioritizing that sleep, getting good quality restorative sleep each night, moving in a way that is gentle for you but gets you moving. These are all foundational for this stage in your life. So I hope that you enjoy this episode. I hope that it, connected the dots for you and maybe made you feel a little bit more seen, finally, because you're not alone. Menopause doesn't have to be confusing or chaotic, and you don't have to suffer through it, right? And if you're tired of piecing it all together on your own, I'd love to support you. You can always book a discovery call with me using the link in the show notes below, or you can go to my website, wendyhandy.com, and we'll talk about what you're experiencing, what your gut first support could look like for your unique body. And I want you to know you don't have to navigate this season by guesswork. And you definitely don't have to do it alone. So, thanks for being here today. And until next week, stay happy and stay healthy. Hey friend, I hope today's episode brought you some real value. If it did, would you take just 30 seconds to share it with a friend who might be struggling to get her gut in check? And if you're feeling extra generous, leave me a review on Apple. It absolutely lights me up knowing that this podcast is making a difference for you. All right, it's time for me to grab my protein shake and get my gut happy. I'll see you back here next Tuesday for another episode of Gut Fix. And until then, stay happy and stay healthy.